the root of all excellence.
Moriah, what's up?
Hello, Max.
How's everything been going?
Not bad. Not too bad.
I feel like this week has been like fast.
Yes, this week has been fast. It has been busy.
Okay, maybe that's the reason why I feel like it's been fast.
Busy week. It did go by really fast, though.
Okay.
I can say that. But, it's over. Weekend.
It's popping.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it was a little bit productive, too.
This week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it was more productive than usual.
Got a lot of things done.
Mm-hmm. Making progress.
Right. So, I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And also, like, productivity makes things go fast.
That's true. When you are busy, time flies.
Right.
Not only when you're having fun, even when you're not.
Right. So, that's what's up. Let's get into my little shindig
Your episode.
this week.
Spaz out.
So let me just get people like a backstory.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
So, I'm at work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like the middle of the night. I decide. Well, I was triggered. Let's just get that out the way. Triggered, man. I was like, I'm tired of this. I'm gonna do a podcast on Delusions
Right now. I wasn't invited.
You asleep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna wake you up like, yo, I'm finna do a podcast.
Right.
So I do the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I lay out everything, how I feel and all these emotions and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm conscious of like, I don't trust me and some of the things that I say and maybe some of my views, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I go like in the actual podcast episode, which we did not release. I go, I'm going to run this by Moriah to make sure that it's okay because I feel like, I don't know, like I may have said some things in the podcast that could be offensive, that people may take wrong, things like that, right? Mm-hmm. So the next morning, let you hear it, and I'll let you take it from there.
Okay.
How did you feel about it? Like,
I felt like if you felt it was helpful, then that was the purpose. But I don't know that it would necessarily be in line with the podcast.
okay.
Kind of. I mean, it was a release of your feelings.
Right.
But I don't know that it was. I don't know how I felt about it. I didn't mind it because maybe I'm used to you
being that way,
being like this and your true feelings.
Right.
And I think it's helpful for you to get it out. But if that accomplished it, then that was enough.
I didn't need to put it out.
You didn't need to release.
Mind you, it wasn't. I feel like it wasn't brutal.
It wasn't brutal. No, I don't know that it was necessary though.
Okay, makes sense.
That's the only thing.
But I felt like it was gonna be a dope, like inside the mind of Max kind of thing, right? Yeah. So, but it was, you struck it down.
I didn't strike it down.
I feel like you struck it down.
I didn't. You said, "Do you think people will be offended by it?" And I said, "I'm sure somebody will be offended."
Okay.
And you said, then I don't need to put it out.
Okay. Right. So, yeah, I mean, because I don't want to offend anybody.
Right. So I didn't strike it down.
Okay.
If you wanted to release it, you could have released it.
Yeah, but I didn't want to release it if somebody was going to be offended. You didn't want to offend.
Yeah, it's fine. You got it out. It was the purpose.
Right.
And so that was the point.
Right. So, how did you feel about the actual topic? Because the topic was about me kind of, not wanting to support, delusions and things like that.
So go ahead and explain, and so that I can tell you what I think about it.
So my whole thing was I didn't want to support people with delusions, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like, you have people who say and do things, but there's no follow up to it, right? Mm-hmm. So at some point, as adults, we understand that, steps have to be made in order for things to come to fruition, right?
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong, some people just get lucky, but in most cases. And so I didn't want to kind of support those people.
Right.
So,
so from what I understand,
mm-hmm.
based on what you did,
mm-hmm.
you were triggered at work.
Right.
By somebody that is having delusions.
Yes.
And so you didn't want to support them in their delusions. But being that you are a support person at work, you're working, your job is to support them.
Right.
It triggered you.
Yes.
And so outside of work, you have people that you feel have delusions.
Somewhat similar.
But I feel like similarly, we all have these thoughts and we all have these behaviors to a certain extent.
Right.
So if we break it down, it's the reason why there's so many New Year's resolutions that are the same every single year.
Yeah, I get that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's the reason why you got the same goal over and over again.
Right.
To do the same thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't have the work push behind it.
Right.
And so I feel like we all could be guilty of this.
Yes.
At some level.
Absolutely.
Some are more extreme than others.
That's the part where I had a problem with.
The extreme
version of it.
Right.
Right. And you're right, like most of us have goals that we set that never get touched, then we set it again and never get touched. Right?
Right.
Almost like a procrastination kind of thing, right?
Right. Almost.
But I'm talking about at a more extreme level. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That is the part where I felt like I don't know if I'm comfortable supporting that. You know what I mean?
Right. The extreme level.
The extreme level.
Yeah. Well, I can get that.
And
I guess you got to figure out at what point you have a cutoff.
Right. What do you mean by that?
Well, because you still want to be able to support people in their goals and what they're trying to do, even if they're not being successful with it, right? I guess after so many times you get tired of hearing it.
Right.
But I think you still want to be able to hear other people's goals and aspirations and support when you can, in ways that you can. But it's gonna get to a point where this is not even possible. So let's not talk about it.
Right.
And so going into those types of discussions and those types of situations to where this isn't even possible. Why are we even talking about it? This is not realistic. This is not real life.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So I'm saying like you have to decide where your boundary is in that range.
Right. And that's pretty much what the podcast was about. I mean, I was pretty much explaining why I'm uncomfortable with it, why I shouldn't, support these people, and why I feel like this.
Mm-hmm.
But also as a sense, as like a way to vent almost.
Right.
So, but yeah, I agree. Like, it's definitely important to set boundaries and figure out like when and when not to like pull that wall up and say, hey, listen, man, I'm not engaging in this anymore.
Right. And so I guess that's really up to you to decide.
Right. And that's pretty much what I did. I've decided.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what the podcast was about.
Where the wall is.
Where my wall is up. I don't want to hear about it. And all of these other things. And,
right.
And so, yeah, definitely. But you felt like maybe the way I kind of expressed it was offensive. Like, what part of it would you say was offensive?
I think you are more general when you speak about things and you realize. And so you make very broad statements.
Give me an example.
An example of your broad statement?
Yeah.
People are delusional.
Okay. That is kind of broad.
It's very broad, right?
Very broad.
And you're saying somebody is delusional because they are saying one thing but not doing anything about it. Right? So you're saying I'm a very hardworking man.
Yes.
I work very hard. I work very long hours. I got used to working very hard in my life experience.
Yes.
So I go to a very extreme level.
Yes.
So if a person does not put work behind the goal,
yes,
then they are delusional that they are going to reach this goal. That was the broad statement.
Right. Okay.
And so my thing was, no, a person is not necessarily delusional because they're not putting in the work to reach the goal.
Mm-hmm.
If they understand they're not going to reach the goal.
No, I get that. But this is the delusional part. Why stick with it?
Why stick with what?
So give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
A person says that they're going to space.
Right.
Right? And every time they see you, they say, hey, going to space. Right?
Right.
And at some point you go, so how is the spaceship coming along? Yo, I'm building it, man. I'm going to space. Right?
Yeah.
Now, what you just said was like, if they know they're not going to space, then that's really not delusional.
If they know, I haven't even started building the spaceship.
Right.
But I still want to go to space.
Yes.
I don't think that's delusional. I think it's delusional if you say, I haven't built the spaceship, but I'm going to fly to space.
Okay, I get what you're saying. So, okay, I get what you're saying. And I agree. But the part that I was saying that was delusional is, why keep harping on it?
Why keep talking about it?
Yes. Like, so you've told me that you're going to space already, right?
Yeah.
And after a certain amount of time, you haven't even thought about building a spaceship.
Right.
Why do you feel the need to keep telling me that you're going to space and wanting me to engage in you going to space? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's the hard part. So maybe delusional is not the correct word, but
you don't want to participate.
Yes, I don't want to participate in something that is like, what's wrong with you?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so that was kind of the point of it.
Right. And I get it, but that's why I was saying it's too broad.
Right. No, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very broad statement.
You make very broad, a lot of broad statements.
I love being broad.
You do.
I love to
if
like.
If somebody doesn't understand what you mean, or they take you for what you said.
Yeah. Now.
Then you have an issue, or you. No. I don't know if it's an issue, but you get frustrated.
No. So like, a lot of time I speak in metaphors, right? Mm-hmm. you supposed to be able to pick up on it. So like if I'm in the store, like we went to the mall and the guy, we was looking at suits. The guy was like, we don't have that type of suit, but we may have some online. Right. And it's going to be a little more. And I said to him, I said, how much it costs? Probably like $1 million, huh? Now for him to think that I believe for real that a suit from this store is going to cost $1 million is frustrating to me, right? Because obviously I'm playing.
Right.
But that part of it, a lot of people don't pick up on.
Right.
They take that literal.
Right.
And it's frustrating to me because it's like, you supposed to know I'm not for, just based off common sense. You know I'm not for real.
Right. There's some times where it's like that, where it's obviously not for real. There are other times where it is possible that you could be for real.
No, I don't
Especially
think so.
with your facial expression and your way that you're talking.
I'm a very serious joker.
Right. So if somebody doesn't know your serious joke tones,
Right.
or your serious joke hand movements or your facial expression, right?
They could take it as.
They could take it as, I don't know if he's serious or not.
Right. Taking it at face value.
Yeah, I guess I'm just going to take what he said. He mean what he say. I don't know.
Right. But that's the frustrating part, right? I'd be like, what? Like, no, I didn't mean that literally.
But you can't tell. I guess you got to have some better tells.
I don't know.
Smile.
Yeah, something.
Something.
Something. Because people don't be like picking up on it. Like, so that's what's frustrating. Because people would take that and be like, no, you said this. And it'd be like,
Right.
I didn't mean for real $1 million.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely. But just going back to the situation, so that was what the podcast that I did was about, and that's pretty much how you felt about it. And so we decided not to put it out.
Right.
Right. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much was that. I wanted to do more of those type of podcasts where we kind of talking about experiences rather than like, you know, current events. And as we like, start interviewing people and things like that, maybe that's something that we can kind of implement within the structure of podcasting.
Yeah. That could be fun. Things that come up. I'm very much so like, I don't know that I always pay attention to remember the experience.
Right. Okay. I don't know what that means, but
you know, like some events I just don't care.
Right. But I'm pretty sure like you have situations in which like, you know, frustrate you or situations you want to like figure out like why things are the way that they are. That's what I mean by like different experiences and things.
It don't happen often.
Right. But when it do, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's all the time.
I know. That's what I was saying. Like, for me, it doesn't happen as often.
I will have.
Because I don't care.
I will have one for us every day.
Yeah, you would.
So, yeah, I mean.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess as things come up, we could talk about it.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
As things come up, we ain't got to force it or nothing. So, yeah, like, did you want to get into any more topics?
Yeah, let's pivot. Well, I guess kind of on the line. So we were having a discussion today.
Yeah.
About this clip that was going around.
Yeah.
So there was a video of a lady talking to her husband, vice versa. They were having an argument. So a bank statement came in the mail of a secret account that she had where she was taking money from their joint account and putting it into her private account without him knowing. So he didn't find out until right before then when he got a bank statement and he was recording the argument.
Right.
And so he's saying that it's our money. Why would you be taking the money out of our account and you don't work? You don't add anything to the account to take money out of the account, but you have access to the money because they're married.
Right.
And the money is for the family.
Right.
And so...
What was your take on that?
So my take on it, I understand both sides. So I can understand where she's coming from, where she's saying that I need to make sure that I'm good if something were to happen to where I don't have access to this money anymore. So whether that's we break up, whether that's you take me off of the account, whether that's...
Whatever.
Yeah, basically she said if we get a divorce.
Right.
So I'll use her words. And if they get a divorce, then she needs to make sure that she's good. So there was $22,000 in the account at that point.
In her account.
In her account. We don't know how much is in the joint account.
Right.
But he said he does work really hard. So he works 10 to 12 hours at a time to be able to provide for the family and the family funds. And so I also understand where you are not contributing and you are not you're not being responsible with your access to his money.
Right.
Because ultimately it's his money.
His blood, sweat, and tears.
Even though that they're married.
Right.
This is his contribution financially.
Definitely.
Now whether they agreed to it or not, this was a debate.
Right.
Whether it was a verbal agreement or something that just happened to where he is providing for the family financially and she is not providing anything financially. This was their agreement that she's going to have access to the account because it's our money, their money as a married couple.
Right.
Right. So I felt like I can see why she would take money out. If it's our money, then I have access to the money to do with what I do.
Right.
There were no limits. I'm assuming you wouldn't think to limit somebody from taking money from the account and putting it in a different account. Mm-hmm. But that's my take on it. So I'm very big on I need to have my own money. Whether that means for anybody else, it's none of my business. But for me, I need to have my own money because of situations like this.
Right.
I don't like the dependence.
Okay.
At all.
Very reasonable.
So me having to depend on you allowing me to do anything, it doesn't work for me.
Right.
So that's my take on it.
Okay.
What's your take on it?
First, I want to say I would like to thank you for wanting your own money.
You're welcome.
It has been very beneficial to us that you are a person that want their own money.
Yeah.
And I feel blessed because of it.
Oh,
you know?
I'm glad.
Feel blessed because of it. But that has not stopped me from working as hard as I can, right?
Right.
So when those two things combine, I feel like I was finna say Captain Planet, but we live pretty decent. Right?
Right.
Right. So
I think anytime there's a contribution from both parties,
right,
it makes it a better difference than if it's just on one sole person. Just like mentally even.
Right. It's so one of the things I do know is a lot of relationships fail because of financial things. Right?
Yeah. So
if both people are contributing, there's less stress when it comes to the financial aspect of it.
Right.
Right. So my take on this thing was she a thief. She's a thief. Let's say that again. Thief. She is stealing from the relationship. Right? Because he works hard and he's thought about we.
Right.
Right? She doesn't work at all and she thought about me.
Right.
Right? Come on, man. Like, for what? Now, I can get that, she have access to the money.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he kind of signed up for.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean...
If this is our money, if it's truly our money, this is what it is.
Right.
She got access.
She have access to the money.
It's hers too.
It's hers too. That's what he signed up for.
Mm-hmm.
So, just to make sure that we are holding both parties accountable,
just to be sure,
she don't have a job. She wanted to be a kept woman. That's what she signed up for.
True.
So you don't get to put money away. That's what you don't get to do.
But I feel like, okay, so here's the accountability, right?
Yes.
He signed up for this. This is our money. This is the money for the family.
Right.
You have access to do with it what you will.
Yes.
Right? She signed up. I don't have a job. I'm not working. I'm not contributing financially.
Right.
He's able to make all the financial decisions. That's what she signed up for.
Okay.
So if he decides to take her off of the account,
yes,
that's what she signed up for.
Yes.
Because one, she's taking money out irresponsibly,
right?
Like not communicating,
right?
As a couple,
right?
Being on the same page with what's happening with the finances, but also she's not contributing,
right? And that's kind of what you signed up for. Listen, if this money is ours,
yeah,
that means both parties are associated with it.
Right.
Right? You don't get to like steal and not tell it, man. That's what it is. It's stealing.
I don't know if it's stealing because it's ours.
Right, but it's not 100% yours.
It's not 100%.
So when you do not communicate, you're stealing.
But if you take a piece of it,
mind you, she didn't tell him. He had to find out.
Right.
So think about this. If he would have never found out, he would have never known. He just would have never known. What kind of twisted, fraudulent, like that's grounds for divorce.
Potentially.
Right? Mm-hmm. Because it's just thievery.
I don't know if it's thievery. I don't know that I agree with that part. But I do agree that it's wrong. Right. Yes.
And so my whole thing is that should have been some communication. Mm-hmm. But now both parties signed up for something that, that kind of contributed to this whole thing.
Right.
Right.
Deceptive.
Right.
That's what I would call it.
Very deceptive, right? Very selfish. Very selfish.
Yes.
So,
but in that situation, you kind of have to be, right?
No, you don't.
You kind of have to be in that situation.
You can communicate that.
You can communicate that, but...
You can communicate that. Listen, I need a certain amount of money to save. Even if we save it, right? Mm-hmm. We're gonna save this amount of money, right? And if something happens, you get this, right?
So like a prenup?
Kinda, right? That needs to be communicated. You know what I'm saying? But for a man, this guy to work 10 to 12 hours, blood, sweat, and tears, and he's giving it to you. He's allowing you to not work. Yeah. Now, listen, it's 2023. I don't know how much this man make to where his woman don't work. Right?
Okay.
So.
But I hear that a lot lately.
What? Hear what a lot?
Like women not working or the man providing. Okay. So I don't hear that a lot. I hear that the man is paying all the bills.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you're paying all the bills, then that means she could not work.
Low key.
Right?
Yeah, a little pressure off you.
Right. But I mean, she could still be working and just providing for herself or
right,
contributing to something else.
Now think about this, what you just said. she could not be working and just providing for herself. And you also said before that you've heard a lot of this lately, right? Taking it back to this dude is like literally taking care of everything.
Right.
You don't have to worry about anything.
Right.
And you stealing?
Oh, she's stealing. Just
now mind you, just mind you. Nobody want to work. I doubt if you ask this guy, listen, man, you really want to go out here and work 10 to 12 hours every day?
Right.
And to say no.
Right.
But what am I going to do? He's allowed that for this young lady.
Mm.
And how do he get repaid? By her stealing.
Maybe she do some other stuff for him.
I doubt it.
You gotta do something.
Nah, I doubt it.
You gotta do something. Some type of contribution.
I doubt it, man. They probably got a maid and everything.
Oh, well.
So,
Maybe.
my whole thing is, listen, man, if it's gonna be, if you feel like, I'm not gonna have anything, we don't have a prenup, I'm not gonna have anything if you just like pull a rug from up under me.
Right.
And so I have to have some type of security.
Right.
You go in with that, you communicate that. Right?
Yeah.
And any reasonable guy who would share all of this with you would understand. But for you to do that and no communication and just by yourself, it's a little like grimy a little bit.
It is.
Right?
I can agree.
And in a relationship, that's the last thing you want to see.
Yeah.
Is a person actually not contributing and stealing money for themselves. It's embezzlement is what I call it.
Okay.
Embezzling funds.
But no, because this is our money.
Embezzlement.
Like, don't say this is our money and we share this because we are married and it's for the family if you don't want her to do with it what she decides to do.
Yes, but
if she decides we could afford it, right?
Right.
She not taking so much that it's missing from the...
He don't notice it, right?
To where it's harming the family.
Right.
Or taking away from what the family needs, right?
Right.
So it's not so much at a time that it's a hindrance, right?
Right.
So I don't know, maybe there's something to that. Like maybe there's something to, okay, I'm gonna just put a little bit on the side for me for a rainy day.
Right.
But I do definitely agree that she should have communicated that, and there should have been some type of communication about her feeling that way and her needs that need to be met.
And one of the things that kind of like struck me to my core during the video is one of the things she said is, I'm not arguing with you about no money. As if money is nothing, but you feel the need that you have to steal it.
Right.
It's kind of like weird. I'm not arguing with you about no money. Don't act like it's nothing.
Right.
Somebody had to work for that. Somebody had to, actually go and get that. And now I don't think it was easy, no matter how much it is. Right?
Right.
So it was almost an arrogance related to the pain that or the time that he's put in for each dollar.
But I think you get that when you don't have the contribution.
Exactly.
Like when it's coming to you as you laying up in bed or
right,
you doing whatever you want to do for the day.
Right.
It's a little bit different, right?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I believe, that when you don't have to go and get something, you don't appreciate it the same.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So not only is she stealing money, she don't even appreciate what this man is doing. And she's saying, I'm not going to argue with you about what I steal.
She don't want to argue about it.
So, it was just weird.
It's an interesting dynamic, interesting video.
Definitely.
Let us know. Have you guys seen it? The video? ROAE_podcast on Instagram and Twitter.
Mental health is real. Self-care is important. We out of here.
Bye.